Hello, and welcome to a special look at the history of naturopathic medicine by way of a visit to Germany in the present day. This video is going to take us on a tour of Bad Worishofen in Bavaria in southwestern Germany, where I visited and studied in March 2016 with a group of naturopathic doctors from the US. A visit to Bad Worishofen is a bit like a step back in time in many ways, but it's also a wonderful view into what's possible in the present when the traditions of the past are honored and continued in current healthcare systems. Bad Worishofen is one of many German medical spa towns, and these are towns that are dedicated to health with a strong focus on hydrotherapy and nature cure. And until more recently, with austerity measures, the German system of public health care allowed any German to visit one of these spa towns for 2 to 3 weeks each year in recognition of the importance and power of rest and balanced living, as well as natural modes of healing to the overall health of the German population. More recently, though, this has become more limited, allowing only those with chronic or severe illnesses to spend time in the medical spas and still be paid for by the government. But the tradition is so long and rich in Germany that many folks still take their annual weeks there every year, and they pay for it out of personal funds. So Bad Worishofen is the home of Father Sebastian Kneipp, and we know him as the grandfather of naturopathic medicine. It's the place where he lived and practiced his water cure and other natural healing methods in the second half of the 19th century. If America was the birthplace of naturopathic medicine in the late 1800s, then Bad Worishofen is where the seed germinated. It is where Father Kneipp treated Benedict Lust and Henry Lindlar, who were two of the luminaries of early naturopathy who we met in our lecture. So we'll go ahead and start the tour now. This photo is a bust of Father Kneipp that was taken in the town of Bad Worishofen. And images of Father Kneipp are found all over town, all throughout the town. It's a town that really remains dedicated completely to his legacy and the work that he did there in terms of helping people to heal. Throughout the town, there are many things called cure hotels. That's spelled K-U-R hotel, which are places of accommodation and healthcare treatment all in one. And the Cure Hotel in which we stayed was the Sebastianeum, which is pictured in this slide and the next. This was originally Father Kneipp's monastery, where the monks lived and where water cure treatments were given to those who came for care. The building has been refurbished extensively over time, and it's now a modern hotel, although many of the guest rooms are still very much like the monks' cells, but with some added touches for comfort. The hotel is dedicated to health, and in my room, these words of Aristotle's were on the wall as a reminder. Freud ist die Gesundheit der Seele, and I'm sure that I didn't pronounce that properly, but translated into English, that means joy is the health of the soul. Throughout the Cure Hotel, there are places where guests can see to their own health and the stimulation of their own vital force with water. This picture is a water treading station on the ground floor of the hotel where you can come either on your own or at the direction of an attending practitioner to walk in knee-deep cold water with stork walking mode of walking laps around the small pool and raising your knees so your foot leaves the water on each step. And that serves to stimulate circulatory and nervous systems. Next to the water treading station here, we have an arm bath station where you can submerge your arms to above the elbow in cold water. And this is fondly known as the naturopathic cup of coffee because it helps to stimulate alertness and focus. Herbs are also featured prominently at the Sebastianeum with this educational station near the swimming pool and saunas. and displays raw form of many different herbs that are used at the Cure Hotel, and also up on the wall giving information as to their medicinal benefits. You'll notice the bath-sized tea balls that are hanging from above the bowls of herbs, this one in the top right-hand corner of this picture, and this is one of the ways that herbs are placed in the baths for treatments. The history is not to be forgotten. Nearby the herb station, there's this original bathtub from the late 1800s made of galvanized steel, filled with a mix of local field herbs, which were a favorite of Father Kneipp's to add to therapeutic baths. And you'll note the candle and the wine glass, an added flair to remind us to relax and not take life too seriously. Father Kneipp was himself known to be a cigar smoker. Out and about the town, around almost every corner, there are reminders of Father Kneipp's 5 pillars of health, and these are sometimes in German and sometimes with an English translation, like in this picture. The 5 pillars of health are the healing power of water, vitality through exercise, the healing power of herbs, health through a balanced diet, and the importance of balance in mind, body, and spirit. Around the town, there are stations like the one we saw at the Sebastianeum for water treading and arm baths. This picture and the next were taken on a walk out in the forest on the outskirts of town, and we came upon this opportunity to go water treading. I'll admit that I didn't do this outside. The cold water outside in Germany in March is very cold, and we came from the end of summer in Australia, so that made it seem even colder. And this is the arm bath station there. This photo is a water treading station right in the middle of town by the shops. And it's a combination of water treading and reflexology with different gemstones and crystals embedded in the bottom of the pool and different textures there to stimulate points on the bottoms of the feet. Reflexology is something that's been embraced by the town and its healing emphasis. Here's another opportunity to take off your shoes and walk on different textures as a stimulation to the feet. This is out in front of a different Cure hotel, and this one had smooth rocks, fine and coarse sand, wood chips, and very pointy gravel. And it definitely takes some time to build up to walking around on all of these with cold feet. The town also features a Kneipp museum and Father Kneipp's preserved original bathhouse, which is pictured here. This is his original wooden bathtub, and you can see on the wall behind the photos of Father Kneipp administering water treatment with a hose, with patients standing in a tub to catch the water. We'll see a modern version of this shortly. At the Sebastianeum, guests are prescribed 3 to 6 treatments per day, and that includes not only different hydrotherapy treatments, but also massage, sauna, and other therapies. The next set of photos is representing facilities in the Cure Hotel where treatments are given. This one is an arm bath. This arm bath station is for baths that start with cold water and slowly warms it up. So there's a heater in the station that warms the bath at a specific rate to a specific stopping point. And this photo is of a foot bath station. The water is generally filled at the level to the knee, but it can be lower as prescribed by the practitioner. And it's worth noting at this point that arm and foot baths are not necessarily for ailments of the arms and legs. They're aimed at specific stimulation to the whole of the nervous and circulatory systems, and they definitely have systemic effects. This one is another foot bath station, and it allows the heating of the water from cold to warm during the bath. And you'll note in the last picture that Father Kneipp's watering can was on the shelf just above the foot bath. That was for administering water when there wasn't a hose available, and that is called a guss, or a rinse. This station here is a very complex machine that does everything all in one. So this can give arm baths, foot baths, and allow the water to be heated or monitored at different temperatures for each one of the bath units throughout the treatment. Here we have a station that's for administering water via a rinse, or a guss is what it's called there, using a hose. And this is the modern version of what Father Kneipp used to do with a watering can. A guss is administered generally on the extremities, from the hip down or the knee down, or from the shoulder down, and that's without allowing water to contact the trunk. A guss can be either alternating hot and cold water, or just cold, depending on the condition of the patient. And this photo is an up-close picture of the regulator, where you can see that there are independent controls for the water temperature and the pressure. And treatments are prescribed to specific temperatures. The adjustment of the temperature is very seamless and precise by the technician, and it's really quite an art to master. A guss is administered in a room like this one, and you'll note the drain in the floor so that the patient and the practitioner are never standing in water. The equipment pictured here includes a shield behind which the technician stands, so they aren't constantly being splashed because they do many treatments back to back. And the other equipment allows the patient to be placed in different positions for various treatments to allow the water flow to the extremities without getting the trunk wet. Here we have a professional version of what we do at home when we have a respiratory infection. This is a heated pot with steaming water in which you can place various herbs or oils, and there's a sheet to drape over so that the entire upper part of the patient's body is exposed to the medicated steam. And this is usually done with the patient unclothed from the waist up. These two tubs are tubs for sitz baths. They're used for problems that reside in the pelvic area. And so there are two tubs side by side, allowing for alternating hot and cold immersions that allow the water level to be set so that it falls at the patient's navel, and all of the pelvic organs are immersed while everything else is out of the water. We have on the next couple of slides a number of different styles of tubs that are used for different types of complete immersions in water. These can have herbal inclusions, or they can just be plain water, or things like salts or even carbon dioxide are included in some of these baths. The baths can be done with either hot, neutral, or cold water. And that also depends on the condition of the patient, both the condition of their vitality as well as their medical condition that they have and what is prescribed. This is a picture of a herb dispensing station where liquid herbs are drawn off in measures to be added to different types of baths or steams as a therapeutic agent for patients in their treatments. And then there are the really high-tech, very specialized tubs. This one is at the Kneipp School, where our group studied and practiced hydrotherapy treatments on each other. And this particular tub is a massage tub, though it includes the capacity to run electrical current through different parts of the body during a bath treatment. And that's what the metal plates are on the sides of the tub and at either end. These two photos, this one and the next, are of one of my group members receiving an underwater massage by the teacher during our course, and the water pressure of the hose was so strong that you could see the deep indentation in her skin wherever the water was directed. And here he's treating the bottom of her foot. As he got onto the more soft tissues, here he's treating the side of her calf muscle, and she really looked like she was in heaven throughout the entire treatment. If you can just imagine what it's like to be in hot water and having someone administer a water jet to all of your muscles with complete coverage of your entire body. Looks like just a beautiful treatment. Here's another one of the many reminders painted on the walls at the Sebastianeum. And this one is Im Wasser ist Heil, which means in water is health. The other main feature in the town is the Cure Park, again spelled K-U-R, Park. And this is a huge park that's designed completely around supporting health in different ways. And I was sad to visit there at the very end of winter, so we couldn't get pictures of the huge medicinal herb gardens with herb beds arranged by body systems and medicinal actions. There were also gorgeous ornamental gardens, but everything was dormant on our visit. That prior picture was another representation of the 5 pillars of health of Father Kneipp. And remember the water treading stations we've seen earlier in the video? Well, this stream in the Cure Park is Father Kneipp's original water treading station. The water is only just over ankle depth when we were there, and the temperature was just above freezing. This is another water treading possibility within the Cure Park. It wasn't filled with water when we were there, but this one combines water treading with also walking barefooted on river stones. So you get a bit of the reflexology in this one as well. This is the arm bath at the entrance to the park, and it was empty the first few times we visited because it was still below freezing at nighttime, but they filled it a couple of days before we left, and we saw a number of people taking off their jacket and rolling up their sleeves and dunking their arms into above the elbow to give them a bracing, invigorating naturopathic cup of coffee. And here we see a very robust German woman treading water in the very cold water. And you'll see how she's lifting her knees above so that her foot's coming out of the water each time she takes a step. And this changes the hydrostatic pressure on the legs, as well as providing a pumping action to the lymph nodes that we have in the groin. Very, very stimulating to many of our systems. Reflexology, again, there was a labyrinth in the middle of the Cure Park where you could take your shoes off and walk on the earth on many, many different textures throughout this labyrinth. And this one, for feet that are not accustomed to being barefoot on many different textures, especially when it's cold outside, this was a bit painful at times for those points on the bottom of your feet that need to be awakened by the path. It was a very great experience to walk this one. And you can see this gentleman walking the path. He's actually wearing his shoes. Still a good experience to walk a labyrinth even if you're wearing your shoes. And this photo is just a picture of a beautiful setting within the Cure Park and a reminder of the importance of the power of nature and the beauty of nature around us to serve as something that grounds us and helps us to heal and remain in balance against all of the other busyness that we have going on in our lives. Another reminder in the hotel, reminder that nature is the best medicine, and this is Die Natur ist die beste Apotheke. That means nature is the best medicine. And if you don't remember this, there are reminders all over the hotel to remind you that nature is the best medicine. And this is perhaps my favorite part of the Cure Park. There's a barefoot path that takes you 3 kilometers around the park without your shoes. So I'm going to allow you to just enjoy this stroll through the park for these remaining pictures, and try to imagine your bare feet on all of these different textures, though you might want to imagine that it's warmer outside first. There's everything from soft grass and squishing through different kinds of mud, to climbing on balance challenges, to dodging a stray duck. And I think this is probably the best way to get in touch with your joy and to feel like a kid again. And that brings us to the end of our tour with this lovely sunset photo through the forest of Bad Wirshofen. I hope you enjoyed the trip.